Have you ever wondered why a woman who is detached, serene, and unattached has an undeniable magnetic pull on a man? It is because the very essence of life is attraction. But what you attract depends on the energy you emanate. And often, it is the woman who chooses not to cling that commands the deepest respect and admiration. Why? Because the true strength of a woman is not in her ability to hold on, but in her profound ability to let go. Detachment, in its true sense, is a misunderstood concept. It does not mean being emotionally cold or indifferent to the world or people around you. Instead, it represents a profound inner freedom, a state of being where you are no longer dependent on external circumstances for your sense of self-worth. In this state of detachment, a woman becomes fully anchored in herself. She no longer seeks validation, attention, or approval from others to feel complete, secure, or valued. She finds her peace within, not in the fleeting affirmations or external opinions of others. A detached woman understands that true fulfillment comes from within and is not bound by the need to cling to anyone or anything for her happiness. She doesn't depend on the opinions of others to define who she is, nor does she base her worth on someone else's acknowledgement. This kind of detachment is not about rejecting relationships or becoming isolated from the world. It's about being fully engaged in life, yet not attached to the outcomes or the approval of others. She remains open to connection, yet she does not place her sense of security or value on it. This ability to detach from external validation or expectations doesn't make her cold or emotionally unavailable. On the contrary, it empowers her to be more emotionally present. Because she is not consumed by the need for approval or the desire to control her relationships, she does not need to make anyone feel a certain way or constantly seek reassurance. Her sense of worth is rooted in herself, and that allows her to connect more authentically with others. When a woman reaches this state of detachment, she becomes like a magnet. There is something irresistibly attractive about someone who is comfortable in their own skin, who doesn't need to prove anything. She doesn't chase attention, nor does she seek to control how others perceive her. This natural confidence and sense of inner peace draw people to her because she exudes a certain power, not because of what she does or how she looks, but because of her authentic sense of self. Men, in particular, are drawn to this energy because it is a reminder of a deeper truth, that true power comes from within, and when you are detached from the need for external validation, you can be fully present, free, and magnetic. The strength of a detached woman lies in her ability to be herself, without the need for approval, and this is what makes her so deeply appealing. A woman who is self-fulfilled, content, and whole within herself radiates a kind of energy that is irresistible to those around her. Her magnetic pull doesn't come from her outward appearance, her achievements, or her ability to conform to societal expectations, but from a much deeper source, her inner peace and self-assurance. When a woman is truly at ease with who she is without the need to seek external validation or approval, she becomes a living embodiment of strength and serenity, and this attracts people naturally. This kind of woman does not derive her sense of worth from the attention she receives from others, nor does she require others to validate her choices or actions. She knows her value, and that inner knowing is what makes her presence powerful. When she walks into a room, her confidence is not loud or forced. It is subtle yet undeniable because it is rooted in a quiet understanding of herself. She doesn't need anyone to tell her she's doing well or that she's good enough. She already knows it. The allure of such a woman is magnetic because there is an authenticity about her that is rare in a world that often values external achievement and approval. Her sense of self doesn't fluctuate with the opinions of others. When she interacts with people, her attention is not consumed by how they perceive her, but by a genuine interest in connection. She is not distracted by insecurities or the need for constant validation. This lack of dependence on others for her sense of worth allows her to be fully present, to listen deeply, and to engage in relationships without trying to control them or manipulate outcomes. This inner contentment and independence are what draw people in, especially men. They are attracted not to her appearance but to the energy she exudes, a self-sufficient energy that tells them she doesn't need anything from them to feel complete. There is a quiet strength in this self-contentment, a power that doesn't demand attention but naturally commands it. Men who are often conditioned to seek approval and external validation themselves are subconsciously drawn to women who are free of these needs. They are fascinated by women who stand strong in their own identity, unaffected by external opinions. This kind of woman invites respect, admiration, and ultimately attraction. Men are often drawn to women who are not in constant pursuit of their attention or validation. This is because, deep down, they recognize the inherent power in a woman who is independent and detached from the need for external affirmation. In a world that frequently emphasizes the importance of appearances and social validation, a woman who is able to stand firm in her own worth without seeking approval becomes an intriguing figure. Men instinctively feel the magnetism of a woman who is not emotionally dependent on them or anyone else. This attraction is rooted in a deep, unspoken understanding that true strength lies in emotional independence. A woman who is not constantly seeking reassurance or approval from others exudes a certain kind of energy that is both compelling and mysterious. She does not need to prove herself, nor does she try to shape herself to fit someone else's expectations. This sense of inner strength and self-sufficiency is highly appealing, as it signals to the man that she is capable of standing alone, of charting her own course, and of being in control of her own happiness. Moreover, when a woman is not attached to the idea of gaining validation from a man, she is free to engage in a relationship with a level of authenticity that is hard to find. There is no hidden agenda, no desire to manipulate or control the relationship for her own benefit. Instead, she is able to give and receive love freely, without expectation or neediness. This level of emotional maturity creates a space where genuine connection can flourish, and men recognize this as a rare and valuable quality. A woman who does not depend on a man for her emotional well-being also creates a sense of respect and admiration. Men, particularly those who may struggle with their own insecurities, are drawn to a woman who seems to have it all together without needing anything from them. She does not cling, does not demand, and does not try to secure her place in the world by relying on others. Instead, she builds her own life, strengthens her own sense of self, and maintains a sense of autonomy. This is what makes her attractive. Ultimately, men are drawn to women who live with self-assurance and emotional independence because it signals to them that she is not just looking for someone to complete her, she is already complete. This detachment from dependence creates a relationship dynamic based on mutual respect and freedom, which is inherently magnetic. True detachment is not about removing oneself from the world or the people around you. Instead, it's about the freedom to be fully present without being attached to any specific outcome. When a woman practices detachment, she is not bound by the need to control her relationships or manage how others perceive her. She doesn't seek validation or cling to the idea of needing someone to fill a space in her life. This detachment allows her to move through life with an open heart, without the pressure of constantly holding on or forcing things to unfold in a particular way. This freedom is what makes her truly magnetic. It's not a freedom from people, but a freedom from expectations and the need for external approval. When a woman is detached, she is emotionally available but not emotionally dependent. She is able to experience connection and intimacy without the weight of fear or insecurity that comes from clinging to someone or something. She can give love and affection freely, without the need to control how that love is received or returned. Men, especially those who may be overwhelmed by their own emotional dependencies or insecurities, are often captivated by this energy. There's something deeply attractive about a woman who doesn't need to manipulate or mold a relationship to fulfill her own desires. She enters into relationships with the understanding that they are mutual, fluid, and based on genuine connection, not a desperate need to make them work. This approach allows her to experience relationships as they are without the pressure of controlling them or shaping them according to some idealized version of how they should be. This emotional freedom also translates to a more balanced and harmonious connection. By not attaching herself to the outcomes or expectations of others, she creates space for relationships to unfold naturally. Men recognize that when they are with a woman who practices detachment, they are not being manipulated or coerced into something they aren't ready for or don't want. The relationship is allowed to grow at its own pace, which fosters a deeper, more authentic bond. Ultimately, this freedom from attachment creates an environment where both individuals can thrive independently and come together in a way that is supportive and genuine. There's no need to grasp or hold on too tightly. Both people can stand in their own truth, free to grow and evolve without fear of losing each other. This kind of freedom is rare, and it is this rarity that makes it so appealing. A detached woman is not someone who shuts herself off from the world or the people around her. Rather, she is someone who understands her own value and does not depend on the opinions or judgments of others to affirm her worth. She has a deep-rooted sense of self-worth that is not easily shaken by external circumstances. When she walks through the world, she does so with confidence because she does not rely on anyone else to tell her that she is enough. This inner knowing is the key to her magnetic presence. This kind of self-worth is not based on appearances, accomplishments, or even how she is perceived by others. It is grounded in the understanding that her value comes from within, and no one else can define it for her. She recognizes that she is whole, complete, and powerful, not because of anything she does or what others think of her, but because of who she truly is. This inner strength gives her the ability to be authentic and to live her life on her own terms, without the pressure of constantly seeking approval or validation from anyone else. When a woman knows her worth in this way, she becomes a beacon of self-assurance. She doesn't need others to validate her decisions, her appearance, or her choices, because she is already secure in her identity. This self-assuredness is incredibly attractive because it signals to others that she is comfortable in her own skin. There is a rare confidence in someone who is not constantly second-guessing themselves or looking for external signs of approval. This quiet confidence draws people in because it speaks to a level of emotional maturity and self-respect that is rare in a world that often encourages people to base their sense of self-worth on outside sources. For men, a woman who is not dependent on them for validation represents a kind of emotional freedom that is incredibly appealing. It shows them that she is not trying to mold herself to fit anyone's expectations, nor is she using them to fill any emotional gaps. She is complete on her own, and that makes her presence feel safe, real, and grounded. Men often find themselves drawn to women who know their own worth because it frees them from the burden of trying to constantly prove their value or their ability to meet someone's emotional needs. This creates a dynamic of respect where both individuals stand strong in their own identities, appreciating each other's presence without needing the other to validate or complete them. True love is not about possessing or controlling another person. It's about two people coming together as individuals who have already found fulfillment within themselves. A woman who practices detachment understands that love cannot thrive when it is rooted in neediness or dependency. She knows that real, deep love arises from the freedom to be yourself without trying to control or change the other person. This kind of love is born from the mutual respect and admiration that each partner has for the other, rather than the desire to possess or complete each other. When a woman is detached, she doesn't cling to a relationship out of fear of being alone or out of the need to fulfill some emotional void. She enters a relationship from a place of strength and self-sufficiency. She already has a strong sense of self and doesn't need a man to validate her worth or fill an emotional gap. This allows her to give love freely without any expectations or conditions attached. She is able to love deeply, but without trying to hold on too tightly or make the relationship the center of her identity. For men, this type of freedom is incredibly magnetic. They are often attracted to women who are not emotionally dependent on them because they recognize that this kind of independence fosters a relationship dynamic based on mutual respect and equality. Men understand that when a woman is detached in this way, she is not looking for someone to save her, nor is she trying to control the relationship. She is simply looking for a partnership built on love, trust, and genuine connection. In relationships where both partners are emotionally independent and free, love can flourish naturally. There is no pressure to possess each other or hold on tightly. Instead, each person is free to be themselves, allowing the relationship to grow in its own time and its own way. This freedom creates space for both individuals to pursue their own passions, dreams, and goals, while still being deeply connected. Men are drawn to women who understand that love is not about control, but about freedom. When a woman practices detachment, she opens the door to a relationship where both individuals can be their authentic selves, free of the emotional constraints that often come with dependency. This freedom makes the connection deeper, more genuine, and ultimately more lasting. The absence of neediness in love allows it to grow in a way that is natural and fulfilling for both partners.